What are some scary, horrifying, creepy things that have happened to you, or in general, that could have a plausible explanation, but still freak you out? A few years back, I lived with my mother and German Shepherd in a two-bedroom rented townhouse. I got home from work one day and went about my daily routine. When it came time to eat dinner, I knocked on my mom's door to come and eat. I smelled cigarette smoke and heard her grunt a response. So I went back down and ate alone. I figured I would just put a plate away for her. Fast forward to about 2 a.m., I am awoken by someone holding my hand and gently shaking it. I immediately shoot straight up and look around. My dog, who is overprotective and sleeps with me every single night, isn't in bed. She isn't even in the room. She most definitely was on my bed when I went to sleep. I sleep with the bedroom door shut and locked. She is scratching at my closed and locked bedroom door from the hallway. Frantic, I bolt for the door. Let her in and she is searching the whole room. I'm now yelling for my mother. No answer. I force my dog to walk down the hallway with me. I still smell cigarette smoke. I bang on my mom's door. No answer. So I just open it. She isn't even home. The bed is made and her TV is off. My dog and I search the whole entire house. Nothing is out of place. All the doors and windows are still locked. I was freaked out to say the least. The next day I called my mom and she told me she left early the day before to go visit my sick grandfather. I used to have a penchant for wandering around abandoned buildings when I was in high school. One time a friend and I decided it would be a good idea to explore a farmstead that hadn't been in use for years. The whole experience was really bizarre. The farmstead was accessible by a long gravel road that brought you to a cluster of dilapidated buildings around a central barn. We parked at the end of the gravel road near the turnoff to the main road so we could walk around the property and just pull out quickly later. We went into the barn first and there were deer bones arranged in a circle around the skull and a bunch of blankets and wood stacked in a corner of the room. We thought it was really cultish and weird, noped out, and started walking back to the car. Halfway down the gravel road we heard crunching, heavy footsteps and someone screeching behind us. Blood-curdling screeching. We sprinted back to my car and tried to peel out of there as fast as possible, but it had snowed the night prior and my back tire was stuck in a puddle of melted snow. My friend was screaming because she was so freaked out but wouldn't turn to look at the path behind us. By the time I had gotten the car unstuck, she turned around to see if there was someone following us and there was no one there. I could have been a bird or something, but we both swear up and down to this day that someone was following us. I actually thought I was going to die that day. To preface, I'm a suburban city boy. I've always lived surrounded by people and lights. So, I visited my ex-mother-in-law in rural Georgia over the summer a couple years back. We're talking deep rural south. No light pollution, so you can see a billion stars in the actual Milky Way across the sky. Well, the night I went it was one of those slim crescent moons, so it was even darker than normal. I can't see my hand at the end of my outstretched arm levels of dark. I'm walking their little rat dog around the yard along the edge of a forest and I'm probably 200 yards from their little trailer, which is the only source of light besides my flashlight. This little rat dog stops dead in his tracks and starts trembling. He looks up at me with his big eyes popping out. I hear a rustle of leaves and a twig snap, maybe 20 feet to my left. I scoop the rat up and start power walking back to the house, looking in all directions with the flashlight. Once I get halfway back, I hear a blunt-curdling, high-pitched scream from hell. It sounded like a woman was getting stabbed. Oh crap, this is some hills have eyes crap and I'm gonna die. I ran as fast as I could back to the trailer. Ex-mother-in-law told me it was probably a bobcat. They scream like that all the time, apparently. When I was younger, my mom, my grandma and I liked to go to this little Frau tea shop that was about 40 miles from our home. It was a cute little place where you could get the classic tea and sandwiches and cute little desserts and all. One time we went, all was normal, but on the way home we received a call that my other grandma had passed away. Very sad, but as she had been battling cancer, not exactly unexpected. The next time we went, A few months later, on the way home we received a call that my uncle had died suddenly of a heart attack. Creepy coincidence for sure, but we still did not think too much of it at the time. We went back a third time a few months after that, and for the third time on the way home, we received the phone call that someone had died. This time it was my grandpa's brother. We never went back to that tea shop again. Now all of these people were elderly and not exactly in the best of health, so them passing away around the same time was not exactly creepy. But the fact that 3 separate times that we went to this place, 3 people died the same day and we received the calls on the way home, makes me think something about that place was cursed. It has since closed, but I'm still nervous to even go to that area to this day. This one is kinda creepy, but also kinda comforting. This story was told to me by my grandmother, who was a no-nonsense kind of broad, so I believe every word of it. My grandma had a neighbor friend who unfortunately lost her husband when she was young, about 40 or so years ago. It was a sudden death, cardiac arrest or something like that. So this woman was so upset, because for a couple years after his death, she couldn't dream of her husband. For some reason it really bothered her that she couldn't experience a dream with him in it. It's almost like she wanted it for the comfort. Anyway, some time passes, and this woman is preparing to sell her house and move closer to her kids. They lived a state over. Suddenly, she gets her wish. She starts dreaming, and her husband is in them. She has multiple of these dreams, and in every one her husband wakes her up, sits down on the bed, and starts speaking to her. However, his speech horrifies her. It was described to me as backwards or garbled. I imagine it to be something similar to the way Twin Peaks characters speak in the Black Lodge. So pretty goddamn creepy. She can't make a single word out. A few days before she's about to move out for good, she goes to bed and dreams of him again. The dream is the same except she understands one word he says. He grabs her in the dream and repeatedly says rafters, almost seeming panicked. She wakes up rattled, but returns to sleep. The next day, as she's finishing up packing in the basement, she looks up and sees the rafters. She remembers the dream, and is compelled to reach into them. She does, and pulls out thousands of dollars worth of World War II bonds her husband had purchased without her knowledge. She swears he never told her about them. So he appeared in her dream to tell her so she wouldn't leave all those bonds behind when she sold the house. Story still gives me chills today. This is less scary, horrifying, creepy, and more unsolved mystery that still bugs me. When I was 5, the tooth fairy came and left me a quarter for my tooth. She also left me this beautiful, intricately carved wooden pencil box. In the morning, my parents both asked me where I got it. I told them the tooth fairy brought it. Almost 30 years later, my parents still swear up and down it wasn't them. They've confessed tons of other things they did, so I believe them when they say it wasn't them. I would like to know where that thing came from and who put it there. So, this is going on as we speak, but let's take you back a couple of months to when this all started. One nice warm day, end of August, early September, I go outside and find this little ball of fur feathers, hair, and a dangling earring hooked in on my porch. Weird, I thought. I brought it up to my husband and said that there was some weird juju shit on our porch and it freaked me out. I was not touching it, but it needed to go. He suggested that it was a nice gift from the tomcat next door, or something that our dog dragged home. My dog has never done that before, but hey, a way more logical reason than someone leaving weird juju crap on our porch. Cool. Then last week, this fully intact lower mandible bone of a white-tailed deer shows up on our porch in the exact same places where the hair feather fur ball was placed. Again, I asked my husband about it and he says that the dog must have brought it with him. Again, something that he's never done, but logical. I still wasn't going to touch it. The weird fur feather earring ball was still fresh in my mind, and if someone was leaving weird crap on the porch, I wasn't going to touch it. Thanks for taking that danger on, hon. It stayed on the porch for a while. Yesterday, I was studying, facing my front door. Around lunchtime, my dog starts freaking out and I look up and there's this older, disheveled-looking lady, I think, on our porch, who I had never seen before, walking toward our front door. She leaves something on the bench we have out there and turns around and walks away. After a beat, I get up to grab whatever pamphlet she left on our porch. Except, she didn't leave a pamphlet. She came onto our porch, took the lower mandible bone and moved it onto the bench, right in the middle of two posts of the porch fence, right in line with a bright ray of sunshine. So, now I'm pretty convinced that there is someone leaving weird crap on our porch, and here's hoping we're not cursed. A few years ago I was trying to get hold of my parents for something, can't remember what. Neither of them answered their cell phones, so I called their home phone. The line picked up, and it sounded like someone was talking, but it was very distorted. After about 10 seconds the line disconnected. That was at 9 p.m. My parents called me back around 10:30. They had been out at a movie, which had started at 8:30. They live alone. I've posted about this before, but when I was about 9 years old, 1995, in the middle of a bright summer day, I went to the refrigerator to get a popsicle. Suddenly a roughly teenage-looking guy, with long brown hair, wearing a beige turtleneck and red plaid bell-bottoms, turned around the corner into the hallway to my left, then vanished from toe to head as I looked at him. Told no one about it for years, until after my mother mentioned meeting the, now grown, kids who lived in the house before us, who asked her if she'd seen the bell-bottom ghost.